Let me ask you, how's everybody doing tonight, huh? Good, well, fuck you.
Hello world. This is William. Me and Galen are getting ready to wake you up. I will be doing most of the talking. So you will have to deal with me. I'm not as nice as Galen is. So buckle up, shut up, and hit that goddamn subscribe button now. You heard me. Subscribe now. I didn't give you an option. You fucking low-life meatbag. Hit that fucking subscribe now. If you got a problem with that, then post a fucking comment and we can handle this in cyberspace. Now get ready for another kick-ass video. And blaze that shit up.
Legalized recreational marijuana is finally here.
That's when retail sales really begin. This industry really hits the ground running, and we'll see how it turns out then. But
one of the things to note as well is that it isn't just businesses that will be allowed to grow these marijuana plants and to sell them on that market. There is a date we have not mentioned on the graphics yet, June 29th. The new limits on marijuana possession and home growing will take effect. So that is June 29th. There are some numbers that you need to know with how many plants you can keep at home, how much possession that you can have under this new rule. So, or new law, rather, I should say. So, the other thing that kind of brings me to the 10 numbers you should know about recreational marijuana. What you need to know in 10 numbers, interesting dates and times and amounts, numbers associated with the recreational marijuana laws. 10 numbers you need to know. So let's start with number 1. The age of possession.
pretty simple one here. The law stipulates that you got to be 21 years or older to legally purchase, use, or transport cannabis, or really just be involved in this industry, even kind of on the job side of it. So 21 is the age.
There is another thing as well, is possession is a big part of it. How much can you have at one time, or how much can you purchase as well at one time? So that's one of these sort of numbers that we've got here as well. Of 2 ounces, that is the maximum amount of cannabis you can purchase at one time. Now, another one of these numbers that you should know is involving workplaces. So we should be very clear here. Even though recreational cannabis is allowed, private business still can make decisions about what it is that their employees can do with recreational cannabis, whether or not they can even sort of use it, so to speak, and still keep their job. So can you tackle that as well for me? What is this third number we should know about?
Exactly. This law making recreational cannabis legal, it does not mean this is a free-for-all. You can basically think of it like the alcohol laws we have now. Workplaces can say, maybe it is legal, but we're not going to allow it. We're going to test for it. We're going to have a zero tolerance policy, and some workplaces may fire people for having it in their system. They have the right to do that under the law. So while it's legal, doesn't mean it's legal everywhere, and especially not in workplaces. Most likely, we'll have to see how that develops with different employers across the state, but they have that right.
One of the next numbers you need to know, this is the civil penalty for smoking marijuana in public. How much is that?
$50. So the kind of penalties and specifics of the law are a little complex. There's differences for ages. It seems like the lawmakers really wanted to make sure that young users, under 21, weren't over-criminalized for use or possession. Basically, the idea here is that they wanted to make sure that not only was there room for legal use of cannabis, but those uses that are still illegal, like using cannabis in a place where it's not allowed, the punishments aren't particularly severe, especially compared to what we've had historically.
Let's get to our next element here, the 10 numbers you need to know again. We're looking as well here. 6 plants. That's the max number of mature plants allowed in a private home. And again, we talked about June 29th, if I am correct. That is that date where you will start being able to have mature, fully grown plants at your home. That max number is 6 plants. That is what the state law outlines. We will sort of see how things shape up in terms of how that gets enforced. I know that's probably one of the places that people's immediate sort of mindset goes is, well, how the heck are they going to enforce that? We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see to see that. I'm sure that lawmakers have had some ideas about it, but that has not been necessarily, um, I guess, out widely, very publicly addressed in a sort of way that it's been a big news story yet. So that'll be kind of one of those wait and see sort of things.
You know, we're talking about there's cannabis consumption areas. You can think of these kind of like hookah lounges or bars, but not exactly bars.
Right.
Places where it's, you know, legal to go with your friends and use cannabis. And then there's transportation, couriers. We talked about that a little already. Of course, there's manufacturers or producers that do the growing, that do the packaging, that kind of stuff. There's micro businesses. These are defined in the law very specifically, but it boils down to what I was talking about earlier, just small businesses, you know, kind of either mom and pop operations or just a few employees that want to make a little money within this industry.
For those under the age of 18 caught intentionally producing cannabis, that is comes with a penalty here, as we know, of 4 hours. That is, individuals under the age of 18 caught intentionally producing cannabis subject to either a 4-hour drug education, a legal rights program, or 4 hours of community services. So adults over 18 but under 21 who grow marijuana plants may be subject to anywhere from a $50 fine up to a fourth-degree felony, depending on how many plants they produce. The 10th and final sort of number that we need to know here. This is one of the key elements here that has to do with the price of marijuana. That is to begin with, we've got a 12% excise tax. That is the cannabis excise tax, and that is on recreational sales through June 2025.
They wanted kind of an increasing tax schedule, so it'll start at 12% when cannabis first starts being sold, and it'll eventually, you know, progress its way up to 18% by 2030. Certainly, New Mexico does stand to gain jobs. The question is how many. And it's one of those things that we don't really know, but people are taking educated guesses. He pointed out that those aren't necessarily difficult college educated jobs that are going to require years and years of training. These are kind of things that will help all levels of New Mexico society.
And of course, the big date that we are all sort of just waiting for at this point, April 1st, 2022, retail sales of commercial cannabis begins. And hopefully people have learned a little bit of something about this new recreational cannabis law.
Thank you for playing the game.